This is the Mindfulness and Grief Podcast, and I'm Heather Stang, author, yoga therapist, and thanatologist. You didn't choose grief, but here you're choosing how to show up for yourself, and I'll guide you along the way. In each episode, you'll experience practical tools and sound advice to help you tend to your loss, honor your love, and rebuild a life where grief, hope, and meaning can coexist. This time of year has a way of bringing that ache of missing your person right to the surface. Even if you are functioning, even if you are doing all the self-care, there can be this steady undercurrent of longing. Sometimes it shows up quietly. Other times it catches you off guard and feels like a volcano. And layered on top of that, there is often this awkwardness with other people. You might notice that they avoid mentioning your loved one. They hesitate to say their name. They act like everything is fine, or like talking about your person might somehow make things worse. Most of the time, it's not coming from a bad place. People are afraid of upsetting you, or they believe that if they do not bring it up, they are protecting you, as if not mentioning your loved one means you are not thinking about them. If you are grieving, you know how far from the truth that is. You are already thinking about them, especially during the holidays, especially during every day. What really hurts is not feeling like you are allowed to remember. It's that feeling that you have to carry that remembering all on your own. For many people, what actually helps in moments like this is not distraction or forcing cheer, but creating quiet space to actually remember them. Space to acknowledge the longing, space to feel connected, space to breathe, and sometimes the courage to tell the other people that you do want to say their name. This is where meditation can be supportive, not as a way to fix grief or make it disappear. That's not what we're ever doing here, but meditation as a way to sit with what is here when you are missing someone you love, to let the ache be present without being overwhelmed by it and without feeling ashamed for feeling what you feel, to remember in a meaningful and loving way. This approach is connected to something called continuing bonds, named by the grief researcher Dennis Klass. It's a way of understanding grief that recognizes that love does not end when someone dies. I also want to share where this practice comes from. The Life Imprint practice was originally developed by grief researcher C.J. Vickio. I learned about it during a training led by Robert Neimeyer, whose work has deeply influenced how we understand grief and meaning making. When I first experienced this practice, Dr. Neimeyer asked us to bring to mind someone we had lost. I imagined my stepfather, who had died about a year earlier. Our relationship was complicated. He lived with bipolar disorder. He could be difficult. He could be unpredictable. And he could also be incredibly loving, generous, and funny. He showed up at a time in my life when my biological father was emotionally unavailable, and my stepfather left a huge imprint on my heart. This is one of the reasons I care so much about this practice. It's not only for people who have simple or ideal relationships. It's for real relationships. And let's be honest, most close relationships have at least some complications. What this practice allowed me to do was something I'd not realized I needed. It gave me permission to look honestly at what he passed on to me and to choose what I wanted to carry forward. There were qualities that felt like gifts, ways of loving, ways of seeing the world. Those were easy to honor. But there were also patterns and traits that did not serve me, and this practice made space to notice those too, without judgment And without needing to reject him as a whole, I could keep what felt like it worked for me. And I could let go of what was getting in the way of the love that remained. To say this transformed my relationship with this loving and challenging person is an understatement. I felt so much lighter afterwards, more at peace, more grounded in who I am and who I am as it relates to who he was. And if your relationship with the person was a lot easier, more straightforward, this practice will be very simple and very comforting. It's a gentle way to feel connected and remember the ways they live on through you. Either way, this practice will meet you where you are. It doesn't require a perfect story or a perfect bond. Some people prefer to sit quietly and let this practice unfold internally. Some people like to write during or after. There's no right way to do it. In my mindfulness and grief system, this practice lives in step 6, which is continuing bonds. This is the step where we turn toward the ongoing relationship with the person who died. I facilitate this step, along with the other 7, inside Awaken, my online grief support community. And this particular meditation is one of the most powerful ones, according to my members. So today, instead of just talking, I'm going to actually give you the practice inside of the podcast. It's something you can return to when the missing feels especially heavy, whether that's during the holidays or any day that ends with Y. Before we go any further, I want to say one quick thing. This meditation is meant to be listened to when you can slow down and give it your attention. So if you're driving, cooking, or doing something that requires focus, please pause this episode and come back to it later. I want you to stay safe and be able to really savor this experience. There's no rush. This meditation will be here when you're ready. If you are listening to this during the holiday season, I want to begin by acknowledging how tender this time of year can be when someone you love is missing. The holidays often bring a mix of expectations, traditions, gatherings, and quiet moments that can make absence feel especially present. Even familiar rituals or ordinary moments can stir longing or sadness. If you're finding this season difficult, there is nothing wrong with you. Grief does not follow a calendar. Love does not disappear because the world expects celebration. And you do not need to feel any particular way to belong here. This meditation is not about changing your grief or asking you to move past it. It's an invitation to spend a few moments honoring the bond you continue to share with the person that you miss. You are welcome to listen while seated, lying down, or in any position that feels supportive. You can also do this as a journaling practice, or if you prefer, it can be a meditation. If at any point you need to pause, adjust, or stop, please do. Take care of yourself and know that you are always in charge of your experience and you always have choice. So now begin to find a posture that allows your body to settle. You could either close your eyes or find a point in front of you upon which to softly gaze. Feel the support beneath you. Notice where your body makes contact with the chair, the floor, or the surface you're resting on. If it feels right, allow your shoulders to soften. See if you can let your jaw relax, your lips and your tongue relax. Unclench your hands. Allow your fingers to unfurl. and soften through the front of your body if that feels like it will work for you right now. And if not, that's okay. There's no need to force an experience. It's all about inviting the body to unfurl and unwind. Now bring your attention to your breath without trying to change it. Simply notice the natural rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. Now allow the next few rounds of breath to be a little longer, a little slower, and more expansive if that feels right in your body. Begin to notice the beginning, middle, and end of each inhale, and then each exhale. Knowing that if your mind wanders away from this experience, the only thing you need to do is gently invite it back and begin again. Really take in the sensation of breathing, the experience of being here in this room right now. Acknowledge that just by doing this practice, you are showing up for yourself during a difficult time. And also, if you wish, you could set an intention for this practice. Maybe it's the intention to feel the connection that remains, to savor the relationship that lives on, to acknowledge the love that will never go away. You may choose to place a hand or both on your heart if that feels comforting, or maybe wrap your arms around yourself, or any other gesture of care. While this practice is about noticing the relationship that remains, part of it is also honoring the relationship you have with yourself. And let your breath return to a natural, easy rhythm if it was deep. And take a moment to notice what you are feeling, both physically and emotionally. This might include sadness, longing, numbness, irritation, warmth, or a mix of emotions that are hard to name. That's okay. What's important is simply noticing what you notice and allowing whatever is present to arise naturally, knowing that you don't have to fix it, change it, or adjust it. Grief, however painful, is normal, and you can silently say to yourself, I am allowed to feel what I feel. This holiday season carries so many expectations. The holiday season often carries expectations. Expectations to be cheerful, to be grateful, to participate in ways that may not feel authentic right now. Here, you are not required to meet any expectations. You are simply invited to be honest with yourself. Now, gently bring the image of your loved one into your awareness. You might see their face. You might see them smiling. You may sense their presence. What arises might be a shared memory of a special day or an ordinary day that you spent together. There's no need to force a particular moment. Just allow whatever arises naturally to come. As you begin to savor this image, simultaneously notice your breath and notice your body. And as you hold them in your awareness, we'll begin to reflect on the ways they have left their imprint on your life. An imprint is more than a memory. It is the way they continue to live on through you. First, consider their mannerisms. Do you recognize their gestures, expressions, or way of speaking in yourself? Consider the ways that you might move or talk like them. The ways you may look like them if you're related. And even if you're not related by blood, you might still have some of these mannerisms that you picked up just from being around this person you cared for deeply. Next, think about the interests, the passions, the choices that they have imprinted on you. Did they influence your work, your creativity, your hobbies, or the way you spend your time? And also consider the values that they passed on to you. These might be political, spiritual, how you relate to people and animals and the environment, or even the things that you find important for your day-to-day life, ways of caring, ways of relating, the way you view the world. How did they impact the way you see things and the way you feel about the things you see? Now reflect on your personality and how it may be impacted by their personality. What qualities do you share? Kindness, humor, determination, curiosity, reliability, steadiness. And now take a few moments to consider anything else that might show up in you that is a gift from them that you haven't already thought of. Some of these imprints may feel comforting, and others may feel complicated. Simply notice that. You may be aware of qualities you want to nurture more intentionally, ways of being that feel like a gift. Consider what these are, areas of your life you'd like to lean into a bit more in honor of them. And you may also notice traits or patterns you no longer wish to carry forward. After all, we humans are complex beings and no one is perfect. So if there are traits or patterns or behaviors you wish to let go, you can honor that too, knowing that that does not sever the bond. And now imagine their face again, as though you were looking them in the eyes with care, with love. And imagine saying to them, "You live on in me. You live on in me." If emotions arise, greet them with self-compassion. Breathing in, you are here. Breathing out, you are still connected. Now gently bring your attention to your heart center and notice any sensations there. Tightness, warmth, ache, openness. And if it feels right, offer yourself a few quiet words of kindness and comfort. Maybe these are words that you could imagine them offering to you, or maybe they come from within yourself. If it feels right in your body, you could take a few full, expansive breaths in and out, maybe letting go a sigh or some sound or some tears or a laugh. And then letting your breath come back to normal. Imagine turning toward your loved one and offering words of appreciation if it feels right to you. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for what we shared. Thank you for the ways you continue to shape who I am. Allow yourself to rest here for a few breaths. Grief is not about letting go of them. It's about carrying them with you. And this connection is not limited to this meditation. You can return to this feeling anytime, during the holidays, or on any ordinary day. Your relationship does not end. It changes, and you are allowed to carry love and grief together. And now think back over this experience. What stood out to you? And based on that, what is one thing you can carry forward with you during the holidays and beyond to feel close and connected to your loved one while living your full life? Now, take a few full, expansive breaths. Begin to really notice your breath and your body, the surface beneath you, the sounds around you. and begin to wiggle your fingers or toes or stretch your limbs out in a big stretch. Noticing your body, noticing your presence. And if your eyes are closed, allow them to open. And thank yourself for showing up, for making space, for honoring love in your own way. Please be gentle with yourself during the holiday season and know you are not alone. As we come to a close, I want to remind you that you do not have to navigate the holiday season on your own. If it would be helpful, you can download my free grief-sensitive holiday planner at heatherstang.com/holiday planner, which I will put in the show notes. It is designed to help you gently plan for care, connection, and a meaningful holiday season without forcing anything that doesn't feel right. If you are a grief counselor, chaplain, social worker, yoga therapist, yoga teacher, or meditation teacher, I also want to let you know that registration is now open for my February 2026 cohort of the Mindfulness and Grief Coach certification. This training is for professionals who want to support people living with grief in a grounded, compassionate, and evidence-informed way. You can learn more and register by going to heatherstang.com and clicking on Get Certified. This brings us to the end of today's episode of the Mindfulness and Grief Podcast. If you found it helpful, please follow the show and consider leaving a review. It helps others find their way here when they need support the most. Then head on over to heatherstang.com, where you can join my Awaken Grief Support community free for 14 days. You'll meet with me and other kind-hearted members several times a week, get access to the Mindfulness and Grief course, plus guided meditations, journaling prompts, and more to help you navigate grief. If you are a grief professional or volunteer, you can also learn about my Mindfulness and Grief Coach certification. I'll teach you how to share the mindfulness and grief system with others, and just as importantly, how to walk the talk and care for yourself along the way. I'm so glad you chose to show up for yourself today. May these teachings benefit you and those you love. Be gentle with your heart and come back soon.